Well, today we are here with my son Elijah, and we are at the park right outside the back gate of the parsonage. And this week we're talking about Moses. And this is the second week of Moses and the story of Exodus. And this week, most specifically, we're talking about the time when Moses saw injustice. And it's this first time that he saw injustice in verse 11, where he sees an Egyptian slave driver hurting some of his fellow Hebrews as they work. And so what the scripture says he does is he looks around from left to right as if he has this intention that maybe isn't godly or that isn't the right thing to do. And what he's doing is he's thinking about sin. He's planning what he's going to do next. And I think sometimes a lot of us have like this sin that we conceal, right? It's something that we can hide well, something that we don't really have to show to everybody, but what we do is we take this sin and we conceal it. And maybe even we bury it. Now what the scripture says about Moses is that he buries his sin in the sand. He takes the man's body that he ends up murdering and he buries it in the sand, but as we know with sand, things don't always stay buried, right? The sand has this component where it doesn't really hide things very well. And I think that is really true of our sinful lives, is that sometimes we bury the sin in our life, but it always has a way of creeping back up. It always has a way of finding its way to the surface and showing its head. And I would say sometimes in the worst situation, that's when the sin comes up. That's when it comes to the surface. Elijah, can you find it? Can you find it? See, the sin has its way of creeping back up. There's a great proverb, Proverb 28:13. It says this: people who conceal their sins will not prosper, but if they confess and turn from them, they will receive mercy. See, I think what Moses needed to do when he saw injustice was not sin, but to confront that sin. And if we have sinned and we've buried it, we need to confess that sin to God and move on so that it doesn't creep up in different ways and at times that we don't want it to. If we bury our sin, it's not going to help us in the long run. We need to confess it and move past it.